Well, welcome back to Living Local. The entire weather team is in the house, and that's how you know things are getting cold.
That's what everybody says here in the building.
Yeah,
Uh-oh, they're all three
I think
here.
it's a Jay Kidwell line. That's he says it's ready to go. Yeah, whenever we're all here.
It's serious.
Yeah.
I think the little graphic there at the beginning said, "Ask your meteorologist."
Yeah.
We need to add an S to that.
Yeah,
for today,
meteorologists.
because we are all here.
Yeah, plenty of us here, and it is getting cold outside. Kind of almost historic cold.
Yeah, absolutely. This
Yeah.
is the kind of forecast we haven't really had to give all that often in the Quad Cities. And if things go a certain way, we will see the coldest temperature we've ever had in the Quad Cities coming up here within the next 24 to 36 hours or so. It's crazy, and it's going to be dangerous for anybody who's stuck outside for a long amount of time, and actually even a short amount of time, because you can run into some real problems even in the span of about 5 minutes or so with weather like this.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be kind of a wild ride for us here over the next 48 hours or so. But kind of how we got here, I think we should start with just snowfall so far this January.
Because even that is impressive in itself. We've had snow upwards of, well, actually almost a couple of feet of snow just in the past week or two.
Yeah.
And I think now we're up to, 45 inches total now for all of winter so far. That is obviously well above average. Average for the whole year, or excuse me, the whole season essentially is 31.6 inches here in the Quad Cities. So about 15 over already, and we're just barely at the end of January right now.
Yeah.
And some people at home might be thinking, okay, we get it, guys. We know it snowed a lot. Let's get to the cold. The reason we point this out first is because if we didn't have all of the snow on the ground that we do have on the ground right now, it wouldn't be nearly as cold as it's going to be over the next 24 to 36, 48 hours.
Yeah.
It is a requirement. If it's going to be this cold, you have to have snow on the ground, and a lot of the times a fresh snow cover on the ground, which we do have from the snow we had this weekend.
Yeah, and as Zane pointed out, we had just quite a bit here since January 11th. 25.9 inches of snow. We're almost at the record for January.
So now we can start talking about the record cold temperatures.
Yeah.
It is close to a record for snow in January, and we are going to be awfully close to some all-time records coming up here in the Quad Cities over the next couple of days.
Yeah, we got a wind chill warning in effect now that's going to go till Thursday at noon, so almost 48 hours of a wind chill warning.
Wait, today's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man, there's going to be a long stretch of it. And
really
it'll be
is.
bad pretty often. You know, we don't really catch even a whole lot of relief Wednesday afternoon. And in the Quad Cities, it could be as low as 50, 51, 52, maybe 55 below. In places like Glen and Maquoketa, it could approach 60 degrees below zero.
Yeah.
It's just about unheard of for wind chills here in the Quad Cities. These are some of the all-time records that could be broken here. The #1 coldest temperature we've ever had in the Quad Cities, 28 below. It was February 3rd, 1996. I would have been celebrating my 20th birthday back in college, back in Ohio.
Wow.
But, and then also the all-time record wind chill, 54 below. It's just crazy what's coming up. And again, the reason we point these out, these are all in jeopardy next 48 hours.
Yeah, they are. We can just start with some of the coldest temperatures that we've ever seen. 28, the coldest, but like you said, back in 1996. But more recently, we did get down to 27 in 2009. Now, I wasn't here yet, but...
I was, and I remember that morning. There was just a little brief moment where it looked like the thermometer had dropped down to 29 below for a new record low all time.
Yeah.
But the meteorologists, they had somebody on scene from the National Weather Service, I believe, and they kind of calibrated the thermometer to double check to see if it was indeed a record. And that was when they came back and said, not quite. We didn't get the all-time record. And, you know, we kind of laugh about it, but a lot of people are thinking, if it's going to be this cold, we might as well go ahead and do it.
Might as well break a record for sure, yeah. And we're looking at definitely cold stuff here, but temperature's one thing. It's the wind chill. It's just a whole beast of a different belly.
Right, in terms of what the effects actual, people, animals, and so on. Wind chill matters more than just the actual temperature, because you get a nice little breeze coming in on top of those 20+ degrees below zero.
You call it a nice little breeze?
Okay, sorry. It's not a gale force wind, but yeah, even 10 to 15 miles an hour is not going to, because here's our records, right? This is what we're approaching as we go through tonight and into tomorrow morning. We could see numbers pretty close to these. Back in January of 1982, that's the record here in the Quad Cities, 54 below zero, and then a couple other 50 belows in the middle 80s there as well.
Yeah, for
Early
sure.
to mid 80s. Had some days here in the Quad Cities.
It did, yeah. That's actually, I was looking at the big list, and it's pretty much all 80s all the way through about 50 or so of them. Just the 80s were a rough time, but you talked about tomorrow morning, but it goes all day long too, because we're approaching, and probably the most likely record we'll break
the easiest one.
The coldest high temperature of the day. We're only expecting to go to about 13 below, but the record is 12 below, set back in 1994. So just a 48-hour period here where it is going to be very, very rough. So I want to go ahead and take a look at some of the future feels like temperatures or wind chills here as we get into tomorrow. We are going to be looking right here. You can see it play out. By the time we get to about 6 a.m. tomorrow, 5 a.m. tomorrow, right there, right around 50 degrees below zero.
Numbers we just don't really see all that often here in the Quad Cities. When I came in yesterday, Zane was here working on the map or whatever, and at first I wasn't even sure if we were going to have a scale or a legend that had all of these colors on there.
And
it's kind of crazy too what the color table does. It starts throwing some of those orange and red on there.
Red alert.
In about 6 months, we'll have a heat index map, and it'll have some orange and red, a slightly different orange and red shade on there. But yeah, this is you know, it's just crazy, and we'll get to some of the impacts here in just a couple of moments, but this is something that you have to take very seriously, as it can quickly become dangerous for anybody if you're not prepared, or if you're outside for more than just a couple of minutes, and if you have any exposed skin, you just can't do it. So we should all try to avoid that. It's one thing if you're just going to walk outside, walk to the car, start warming the car up, head off to work or whatever, but anything other than that, you really just shouldn't be spending any amount of time outside at all next couple of days.
And yeah, that map we were just showing you, that's tomorrow morning. It doesn't end tomorrow morning though. Even in the afternoon, if we just pull that map a little farther forward, it's going to be down still upwards of wind chills, you know, 30 below, 25 to 30 below, even during the afternoon hours tomorrow.
Yeah, the whole day long, things are going to be a little rough for us for sure. And it carries on for a couple days as well. Temperatures tonight will get down to right around 23 below or so, and then Wednesday night down to 27.
And that 23 below, that'll be a record for the particular day. The 27 below, that'll be a record for the particular day. And again, those are just the temperatures. We can put the wind chills up also. I think the wind chills will be at their worst tonight. Then when the winds die down just a little bit Wednesday night, it's interesting the way it kind of works out. It means the wind chills won't be as bad, but it means the temperatures, that'll probably be our coldest night coming up Wednesday night. So we'll have to be on the lookout too. I remember a couple years ago when we had one of these extremely cold days, it wasn't even quite this bad, but the 74 bridge in the morning, it was terrible. It just iced up. It kind of flash froze on everybody outside because the salt products, they don't work anymore really. And it was a nightmare in the morning. So if you do have to cross the 74 bridge coming up next couple of mornings, probably be a good idea to check in with Ash in the morning and make sure that the bridge is okay. Because in the past, on days like this, it's been impassable.
Yeah, for sure. Not only are we going to have to worry about getting the cars heated up and just getting to the car immediately, it's just going to be a slow commute too here with just icy roads expected, and one of the coldest in the Midwest here as well.
Yeah, a lot of the times it's a little bit colder off to the north in Minnesota, Wisconsin. This time around, some of the coldest weather is going to be real close to us right here in the Quad Cities over the next couple of days.
Yep. All righty. So just stay prepared and bundle up tight. Thanks for coming in so early, guys.
No problem.
It's going to be a long day. We're going to have all kinds of coverage coming up today. We're going to actually do a special newscast from 6:30 to 7. So team coverage throughout the next 48 hours of the crazy cold coming up here in the Quad Cities.
Absolutely. Remain weather aware. We'll have all this information on our Quad Cities as well, and then .com, and we'll see you back here later on. More Living Local rolls on after this.